Another, and I guess our last regular season episode of Buckshots with Trevor and Luke. We have been off for the last 2 weeks due to obviously your scheduling differences and sicknesses here and there. You may be wondering, why is Zach here? Zach, everyone knows Zach, our fearless
Elephant
leader,
in the room.
Our fearless leader here at Flurry Sports. We figured, he has a model running in his head for playoffs, and we'll bring him on to talk a little Bucks playoff basketball. I know Zach's a little bit of a Timberwolves fan too, so if that comes up, maybe, who knows? But Zach, how are you? Are you excited to be on your first episode of Buckshots?
I feel like I've made it. I've been waiting every Sunday, ready to answer the call. I was waiting on Saturdays before. I'm very excited to be here, humbled to be here.
Mute him now.
I'm here for the finale of the regular season. What better time? Everyone knows the most exciting NBA day is today, so I'm happy to be here.
When none of the stars play. But you can catch all three of us and Janet on Lombardi Sweeps or on Lombardi Sweep. We go live Wednesday nights. Podcast comes out Thursday. Subscribe to the YouTube channel Flurry Sports. You'll catch replays of this show, replays of Lombardi Sweep. Really replays of all our shows, plus a lot more video content that we're kind of churning out right now. Great place to go. Zach, is there anything else you want to plug before we get started?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe and like. We are definitely trying to grow the channel right now. So share this as well with all your Bucks friends. Or if I offend somebody else, share it with them. Because you know what? Any publicity is good publicity.
We're going to try to get Zach canceled.
I've been trying for a few years. Good luck.
All right, let's hop into some Bucks basketball here. This is going to be kind of a different show with playoffs right around the corner. We're not going to recap all the games we missed because that's Trevor, 10 games that we haven't talked about for the last 2 weeks now. We're just going to go in and we're going to preview the game today at 2:30 against the Cleveland Cavaliers, what it means for playoffs. Trevor, I think you said you had, what kind of different scenarios that the Bucks can do. As well, we'll talk, like I said, some playoff stuff, who we want to see, who we don't want to see, who faces the biggest challenge, yada, yada. I'm sure this will go off the rails like me and Trevor usually do and end up talking about like Boston Celtics basketball for the next half hour. But just sticking on Bucks basketball, let's kick it right off with the Cavs. Bucks finished the regular season, last game of the regular season in Cleveland today at 2:30. We'll start with the injury report because there are a lot of them. On the Cleveland side of the ball, Jarrett Allen is the only one out of note. He's out with a finger. Colin Sexton and Dean Wade have been out for a year for a while now. But on the Bucks side, Brook Lopez is a game-time decision. Serge Ibaka is out. George Hill is out. Chris Middleton, game-time decision. Giannis, game-time decision. Bobby Portis, game-time decision. And Grayson Allen are out. So that sounds like, Trevor and Zach, I don't know if that sounds like to you, but that sounds like 8 or 9 guys that are part of a rotation. So in your mind, is this just going to be, kind of a free-for-all, or what's going to happen in this game?
It's about as free-for-all as it gets. It's going to be Thanasis out there for 30 minutes, and I love his energy, but when he's out there for 30 minutes, nothing good happens.
Never. What, okay, I guess kind of going off that, I'll ask you this. Who would your guys, if you had to bet, who's going to be the leading scorer today for the Bucks?
I would bet Jordan Nwora. Just because, we talked pre-show. Whenever he gets the spotlight on him, he likes to make it all about him, and which is fun for me. I like to see it, but I would expect a really low efficiency, high scoring game from him.
Not much better than low efficiency, high scoring. As long as you're making cool plays out there, right?
Hell yeah, it's all about clips,
right?
It's weird that Drew Holiday is now for this game. Like, if you're going to do the resting, why does Drew have to play? Don't make him play with these scrubs. Like, that's like a middle finger. Like, he should have something in his contract that says, I don't have to do this. I say him. I say he drops like 40 on some crazy shooting and they still lose by like 15.
See, I'm thinking like getting 35 out of Sandro tonight.
No, I don't think that's possible. I don't think he's ever scored 35 even at the YMCA.
It's the first time for everything. But he's kind of a guy like Jordan Nwora, who, if he can get the camera on him, he's gonna do his shit, he's gonna do his work, and he's gonna try to make as many clips as possible. But I guess, I mean, there's not really much to discuss. I guess, Trevor, we can go over scenarios, Bucks win, Bucks lose, where everything fills out. That I guess you kind of taken over like the math analytics role in the shows that the three of us are usually on. So
I've seen his deep dives before. I'm excited for this.
I don't think I'd call the deep dives very analytical. But if the Bucks win, they're the 2. There's no doubt about it. The biggest thing is the divisional race between Boston and Philly. Depending how that plays out, does a lot because one of the first tiebreakers is divisional winners. So if the Bucks win, like I said, they're the 2. If the Bucks lose and Boston wins and Philly wins, it looks like Philly beats Boston in the tiebreaker, so they win the division. Are tied with the Bucks. They lose to the Bucks on that tiebreaker. Bucks stay 2, Philly 3, Boston 4. So there's a lot of moving parts. I mean, it's going to be really interesting. I do know that the Bucks right now are locked into the 2 or the 3. They can't go to the 4. Whereas Boston can go 2 through 4, and Philly is the 4 or the 3. So really, Boston's the biggest wild card. And seeing that they play the Grizzlies, that's going to be really tough, especially at Memphis. Looking at that game, however, it doesn't even look like there are many injuries. So it's interesting that Boston is favored in that matchup. But the other game to note, like I said, if the 76ers win, that does a lot. They're playing the Pistons at home. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably a win. So if they win, the Bucks lose, there's still a lot at stake here. Very likely chance still that the Bucks come out on top.
And then just to add on to that, the Heat are currently slotted in at the 1. They have that clinched. So like Trevor said, Celtics 3, 76ers 4, Raptors 5, Bulls 6, and then 7 and 8 right now are Nets and Cavs, and then obviously with the play-in game, we have Hawks Hornets there too. So Trevor, are you looking for a certain seed here? Is there someone that you'd rather play compared to another team, or is there a certain scenario that you like more than the others?
I also have to say I just misread the graphic. There are like 20,000 scenarios here. Philly also needs Boston to lose, which is important. So to win the division because Boston is a tiebreaker over them. But going to what I want to happen, I really hope Brooklyn loses. There is a very slim chance they fall to the 9 seed. If that happens, KD has played like 40 minutes a game. Kyrie has played 40 minutes a game. These guys are gassed. They have to play 2 games just to get into the playoffs. Now they're in as an 8 seed. I mean, that they're not going to face the Bucks, and if they are, they're going to be ran into the ground. If Brooklyn gets a 7 seed, though, that's a matchup, even though they're gassed, nobody really wants first round.
Yeah, that's what I was. And with the Bulls slotted at 6 right now, we know how bad the Bulls have been against playoff teams. I'll say it, that almost seems like a Bucks sweep to me. I don't know that Bulls can keep up with the Bucks. Maybe they get 1. DeRozan drops 40 or whatever. But I guess Zach, I forgot to ask you just off the top. But where would you put your Bucks fandom? Are you hardcore? Just kind of you're from Wisconsin, you like the Bucks. I know you said you're a Timberwolves fan as well.
I would cheer for the Bucks in any game except for against the Timberwolves. And the tiebreaker is just because Timberwolves haven't done jack shit, and I'd like to see them do something. But otherwise, I have no allegiance to the Timberwolves. I grew up loving Kevin Garnett, so that's why. I'm a Wolves fan.
So then you kind of as a Bucks fan, I'll ask that same question to you that I asked to Trevor is, what scenario would you rather see? Who would you rather see the Bucks play in the first round?
I'm kind of different, and maybe it's just kind of because that's my mentality. I don't know. I mean, it seems like the Bucks are trying to avoid Brooklyn at all costs right now. Mm-hmm. Especially like losing, they could drop down, and giving the Cavs some juice to jump over the Nets. Like that's what they're trying to do. It seems like. Wouldn't you want to play the Nets right away? Like, especially, is Ben Simmons ineligible for the playoffs if he doesn't play today? Or can he just come back at any point? Because wouldn't you want to play them without Ben Simmons?
I think he can play at any point, but I think they already ruled him out for the year with the herniated disc. I don't think he's ever been doing 5-on-5s yet, which I think there's like 2 weeks after that. So I think he's pretty far gone, maybe in the Eastern Conference Finals, but I would doubt he comes back.
I don't think so either. The last thing right here, it says Kevin Durant gives hope for Ben Simmons' return. So, like, if there's any scenario Ben Simmons comes back, like, you want to make sure the Nets are out before then. Say whatever you want about Ben Simmons, but he's good on defense and he could help on Giannis. So, like, I would assume just get them out right away, even though I get your point. Like, if you let the Nets go on further, at some point Durant or Kyrie are going to get hurt because that's their thing. So,
kind of like last year.
Right. Yeah. Like, Durant's going to get hurt. That's kind of his gimmick, which is fun. It's great. But, like, either you want to play them now or you want to play them in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's about it.
And you kind of persuaded me on that, trying to get the Nets out right away if they don't have Ben Simmons. Let's say the Bucks do end up with the Nets, right? Who guards Kevin Durant? Because last year we saw PJ Tucker. Obviously, PJ Tucker's not on the team anymore. I was talking about this I was back in lacrosse yesterday talking with my old roommates about this, and I had mentioned something, it's tough if you're going to put Giannis on him because you give me gas on the offensive side of the ball. Same thing with Chris Middleton. I'm almost wondering, it's probably not going to happen, but is this a spot where, Pat gets a lot of minutes just to play physical with Kevin Durant?
I'd go Rajon Tucker. Keep the Tucker thing going. Why not? But in all seriousness, I'd probably go Wes Matthews. Like, don't waste Drew on him. Like, what they did last year was let him go off and make somebody else beat you. A lot of people forget the Bucks probably should have won that series in 6 had Jeff Green not gone absolutely nuclear in game 6 for no reason whatsoever. Oh, yeah. And if the Bucks, game 5, I think, one of those games, and the Bucks had a major meltdown. Kevin Durant can't do it himself. Kyrie has been terrible. So I think just put Wes on him, whatever. But you need Connaughton for like those hustle plays, rebounds, all that stuff. So I don't want him gas for that.
Which is totally fair. Zach, do you have an opinion on that at all?
I would just assume do it by committee minus Giannis. Like, just get people in there who can commit fouls. Like, have Thanasis, to your point, Wes Matthews, people like that. You just don't want Giannis picking up stupid little fouls, stepping on Durant's toe, or whatever. I'm assuming he's wearing clown shoes this series.
And the thing with Durant too is he's going to give you like 35 a game, right? No, like however you guard him, he's making shots either way. So, and I don't necessarily disagree with kind of what Budenholzer did last year. Trevor, you had brought that up where just kind of let Durant score and try to stop everyone else. That worked last year because Joe Harris couldn't hit a 3 to save his life. Bruce Brown had he had one game and then he started taking clutch shots and airballing threes with like 4 seconds left and stuff like that. That's a dangerous game to play. Right, because the Nets do have players who can play other than Durant and Irving, so it'll definitely be it'll be a fun series. Everyone's asking for this be a first round series based off of the one game they saw a week ago. But if we're gonna get a game like that, I think my heart may be beating too fast for a first round playoff series. And I guess we can talk Bulls too. I kind of mentioned that I think that if the Bucks match up with Bulls, it could be a sweep. Do you guys feel the same way as me, or am I totally delusional on this?
The Bulls are terrible. They are not a good basketball team. They're like 3-16 versus teams like better than them or in the top 5 of the conference or whatever. Like, it's pitiful.
Yeah. And go ahead, Zach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Bucks are kind of prone to teams who can go down low, and for some reason, Vooch is a perimeter player this year, so I think they're okay.
They're trying to get their own Brook Lopez down there in Chicago, but
everyone wants one.
So let's talk, I guess, overall playoffs, Western Conference included. Is there any team, I guess? I don't know. I guess we were talking off show before. Zach, you kind of had your playoff model going around, and you kind of said that the Suns were the team to beat right now if they beat the Kings, right? Trevor, do you think that? Are they the best team in the league? The toughest challenge the Bucks are going to have if they make the finals.
I love the way you phrase that. They're the team to beat if they beat the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's some sort of hurdle.
It's true though.
Hey, everyone's been shitting on the Kings this year. It's time for revenge.
I'm scared of Memphis. I don't Suns don't really scare me. DeAndre Ayton turns into a bitch when Brook Lopez plays. They haven't beat the Bucks in the last 5 games when Brook Lopez has played, so I'm not worried about that. But Memphis is dogging some teams, even without Ja Morant. And they have nothing to lose at all. That is terrifying to me. depending on how the seeding goes in the West, I mean, it's pretty much set in stone, but they could kind of waltz to the Western Conference Finals too. And if they don't have to play the Suns there, if something happens there, they're going to walk straight into the NBA Finals, maybe losing, 4 or 5 games in those 3 rounds combined, which sounds insane, but fresh Grizzlies team, no, I don't want that, especially with them having home court. Their fans are insane there.
Do you think that their youth plays into it, though? I know everyone always talking about, they haven't been there before. How are they going to react when they get there? Does that play a factor in any of this at all?
I don't think so. I saw what John Morant did against Marquette.
Is the NBA just kind of different? And, you guys just go out there and play basketball as opposed to, football where you really have to get strategy, or baseball where you have to, make a change every single pitch or whatever. Maybe basketball is you just go out there and play basketball, right?
Yeah, Memphis just looks like a team that doesn't really care either. Like, they're just going to go out there, try to get theirs, and then whatever, look up at the scoreboard at the end of the game. Oh, we won by 20. Like, it doesn't seem like anything phases them, which is terrifying because they are deep.
Zach, you were nodding your head. You kind of agree that the Grizzlies may be the biggest challenge of the Bucks?
I mean, I think the Suns are, but the Grizzlies are scary good too. And just like their head coach, I don't know what the hell is going on. Like, put Taylor Jenkins in a police lineup and give me 5 tries. I'm not sure if I could do it, but they kind of take out the personality of him. Like, I don't know what the fuck they are, but they're really good. To your point, Ja Morant's super good. And I think Steven Adams kind of has, if you want to talk about like the youth, I think he has kind of stabilized this team. Like Steven Adams gives you, like 20, 22 good minutes, but he's a dog. And for whatever reason, when his teams are in fights, he picks up his teammates and brings them to the other side of the floor. Like, he is like Uncle Steve on the team, and he's fucking awesome. Like, of course, I don't want to play him. That'd be terrifying.
I think that's the greatest phenomenon going on in NBA basketball right now. Steven Adams picking people up.
Just Steven Adams in general.
Taylor Jenkins, because nobody knows who he is. He's been an assistant coach for Bud for like 7 years before starting in Memphis. So I don't want to see that either. Like, he knows everything. That's why he blends in. He's kind of like Monty Williams. Instead, he just kind of goes behind everybody and nobody notices him.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. Those are definitely, probably the top 2 contenders in the West. Do you guys have any feelings about the Warriors at all? I know Steph Curry's been out. Him coming back for playoffs, does that scare you at all? No. I think I agree with that, because it's obviously Klay Thompson isn't at full strength either right now, right? The one guy who is at full strength is shout out Milwaukee, is Kevon Looney. He hasn't missed a game this year.
I thought you were going to go with Jordan Poole.
Yeah, I thought for sure we would have gone Jordan Poole. Kevon Looney, a whole 4 points a game. Good job, buddy.
Jordan Poole never played in Green Bay, so Kevon Looney did. It was pretty sweet. He had like 40 points, and it was like the quietest 40 points I've ever heard.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
It was. I'm serious. All right, cool. Well, okay. In fact, one last question for the Western Conference final, or Western Conference, is the Mavericks don't pose any threat, right? It's just Luka Doncic.
He's going to have to do everything. He kind of reminds me of like KD. Like, I'll give him props. This team is the 3 seed right now, I think.
They're the 4.
But like, he's 4. Oh, okay. He's going to have to pull a KD, and he has no Kyrie Irving. Who's going to step up? Dwight fucking Powell? Like, what are we doing here? If he gets to the finals, it'll be a minor miracle in itself.
On his way to the finals, he'll probably pick up 8 technical fouls on the way. I guess that's what I got for playoff stuff. I don't know if you guys want to talk to any more playoff stuff. I know I said we'll do some underdog. We'll do some underdog stuff here in a minute, unless you guys have any more thoughts on playoffs, or I guess it is for Eastern Conference Finals. Who would you least like to play in the Eastern Conference Finals? I should ask. I guess I can give
Miami.
Miami.
Just because I think, depending on how this shakes out, right? Like, if Brooklyn's a 7, I see them first round probably playing, Philly, Boston, Toronto. That might be tough, but first round is probably going to be a breeze. Second round might go 6. They'll probably be pretty fresh, and that's the only thing that scares me about it.
I just don't respect Miami.
Not at all.
I just don't think they're a threat. Like, I think that's cute. They got the 1 seed. That's awesome. Congratulations. The one team, like, I don't think this team's going to go to the finals, but if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and for some reason something went right, and that's the 76ers. Like, if they get there, then I think they're dangerous, but I don't think they're going to get there. That's, if that makes sense.
It does. And I was going to bring up the Celtics too, based off of what they've done the past 2 months. I mean, they're going to come into the playoffs hot. They're going to get, probably they're 2-7 or 3-6. If they get the Bulls, that I would put it up as a sweep, and I imagine Boston's, Final Four in the Eastern Conference, which I definitely think could be a tough draw for the Bucks, especially if Jason Tatum's on. I mean, he's getting to like a Klay Thompson level range where if he's making shots and he's taking wild shots, that they're going to go in, and he's not going to stop shooting. So that does scare me a little bit.
The one thing about the Celtics that is interesting is Robert Williams getting hurt. Obviously, he's out for the season. That's a huge loss. A lot of people are talking about how the Bucks just squeaked by Boston last time they played. And I just like to point out that was with Marcus Smart dropping 29 on 10 of 16, 7 of 12 from deep. His ass ain't doing that again. Tice, 8 for 12, 3 for 3 from deep, 22 points. He's more like the player that bricked a bunny near the end of regulation. Like, even if like Jason Tatum is going to come back, sure, but these bums, Sam Hauser dropped 11.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing here? Like, there's no way these bums have that going for 7 games with Tatum back.
Shout out Sam Hauser, Stevens Point best.
No, don't shout out any of them. They're both
the worst Hauser,
scrubs.
in my opinion.
Shout out Trevor Anderson, though, speaking of Stevens Point. My good buddy, see him in lacrosse all the time.
Shout out.
But
where does he play now?
Valpo. He's playing with Kobe King at Valpo. But let's talk some awards here. Is there any chance Giannis is getting the MVP this year?
Nope.
No chance.
Not after the last 3 games.
Yeah.
I think he was the favorite, and then he just decided not to care, which I think is fair. Like, he doesn't care about a third MVP, but it sucks.
Yeah. Defense player of the year, though?
Probably. Just with the late stops against Brooklyn and Philly. Brooklyn and Philly. And I think he's at the top of the ladder for a lot of people. So once that circulates on social media, it's pretty much a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
And Marcus Smart is the odds favorite for it. That's awesome.
God,
good
why?
For him.
Just nothing but complain and flop. I hate that.
Jaren Jackson Jr. is second.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he plays defense.
He's a good defender. I'll actually give him a little credit. Other than that, he
seems like a stats guy. I don't know.
He's better than Rudy Gobert, at least. Let's just agree, if Rudy Gobert wins it, throw that award to the trash. What are we doing?
Rudy Gobert shut down the league altogether for years.
Shut down the world.
Exactly. Give it to him. He deserves. It should be called the Rudy Gobert Award at this point.
So Trevor, I agree. If Rudy Gobert's winning that, toss that in the trash. You guys remember that video when Kanye threw his Grammy in the toilet and started peeing on it? That's like what needs to happen if Rudy Gobert wins Defensive Player of the Year award.
Like, we're going to look back at him, be like, does Rudy Gobert go into the Hall of Fame? People are going to point to those 4 Defensive Player of the Year and just be like, what are we doing here? This dude fucking sucked. Like, he got bodied by Terrence Mann. Like, what are we? Come on.
That's another one of my favorite NBA phenomena right now is that the Jazz just forget how to play basketball in the playoffs.
It's fun.
Let's do some gambling talk. How about that? In the Bucks Cleveland game, Cleveland's currently favored by 7.5 points, with the over/under sitting at 226.5. If you guys were betting on this game, which way are you going?
I would go under the 226, I think.
Especially if 8 guys are out for the Bucks.
Right. I think that's what I'd do.
The only thing that I'm wondering about is if Cleveland just goes so nuclear because the Bucks have no defense. I'm imagining Thanasis starting at the 4, and that scares me. Like, they could put up 140. I'd probably go Cleveland with the line just because I love Drew Holiday, but I don't know how much he can do on his own. We saw the last time they had a bunch of guys out against Cleveland. They lost by 30.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, 119-90.
Yeah, Drew Holiday's going to, if Bucks want to win this game, Drew Holiday's going to have to play like he's all by himself in Philadelphia again, a decade ago. I don't know if he's as spring of a chicken anymore as he was back then, but I agree with you both. I think, I would take Cavs 7.5 and I would take the under. This just feels like kind of a throwaway game for the Bucks. Like, why do we even need to play this game? Let's just move on to playoffs. And I feel like that's a mindset that's going to go on. I know seeding's there, but I don't know. Do you guys agree with me in this? It feels like the Bucks don't really care about seeding after they've dropped 2 playoff series as the number 1 seed. It feels like they're kind of like when LeBron was on the Cavs in the East. So just get to the playoffs, and we'll take it from there. And that's kind of the vibes I'm getting from this Bucks team.
It feels like Coach Bud owes Steve Nash money, and he doesn't want to see him, so they're trying to lose.
Speaking of money, I'm sure you guys saw that tweet, but it's so true. It said every time you see Mike Budenholzer on TV, he looks like he's playing a casino game that he has no idea how to play.
Yeah.
It's great.
The other thing too is like I think the Bucks were arguably better on the road last playoff run than at home. Like they dropped game 1 to the Hawks at home with the full strength team. I think they beat Brooklyn in all 4, but barely beat the Heat in one of those games. Like they looked pretty good on the road up until the first 2 games of the finals, so they're comfortable there.
Yeah, for sure. We have to kill some time here real quick because I have to update Underdog. So
Timberwolves.
You can talk Timberwolves if you want, Zach.
Okay, so do you think Patrick Beverly has a chance to win NBA Finals MVP?
No,
because
stop.
I think he's probably already getting engraved.
I love Patrick Beverly.
Same. He's the greatest.
Yeah.
And he is going to make Paul George look like such a little bitch.
Right.
It's going to be unbelievable. I could not
I
wait.
hate Paul George so much.
Me too.
Like he's
Same.
done nothing wrong in the past year, and I still hate him. I feel like they'd make it a Karl Anthony Towns award. Like he'd have to average like 10 points to not win it. I feel like they just spin the narrative about him, which is fair. I mean, he's come out of a lot, but like making it to the finals, I feel like it would have to be him or Edwards.
So, Zach, as someone who's a little bit more invested in the Timberwolves, I know you're not. You said you're not much in, whatever with the Timberwolves. How exciting is Anthony Edwards? How fun is he to watch?
He's very good. Like he is exactly what Andrew Wiggins was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm not sure who thought Andrew Wiggins would be that, but except for Andrew Wiggins, I think. But yeah, Anthony Edwards is so good. People are wondering like who is the player that turned the T-Wolves around. They keep crediting the coach and stuff like that. I mean, it's Anthony Edwards and Patrick Beverly. And that's not a joke. Like it definitely is Patrick Beverly as much as nobody wants it to be. But like Patrick Beverly is what Jimmy Butler wanted to be in Minnesota too, by the way. Like this is a stupid team. It is unbelievably dumb. They shouldn't be good. But we got Patrick Beverly like pushing LeBron James in the middle of a fucking play, like puffing out his chest at him. It makes no sense.
This may be the greatest NBA picture of all time.
Yes, it's so good.
The play where I knew that Patrick Beverly was like the most influential player on the team was when I think somebody on the Lakers airballed it, and then Cat immediately gestured to look for it. That is not Cat. That is 100% something Beverly instilled in him early.
That was Westbrook, yeah. And then, Beverly like started like motioning like there's bricks falling down. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know. He just makes me laugh. So it's like Draymond. They just make me laugh, and that's why I love him. All right, I finally got Underdog pulled up. I just want to note right off the top, there's a special line in Underdog that's very funny. It's Tony Snell, 0.5 points plus rebounds plus assists over under.
Under? He might play 30 minutes and not take the under.
Who are they playing?
Rockets, I think, right? Does he play with the Hawks right now?
No, Golden State. He's with the Pelicans.
Jesus, really? Okay. Good for him. The silent killer.
I thought he was with Portland. I guess he was part of that trade.
God.
Tony Snell, Bucks legend. Shout out Tony Snell. Is that a special line or is that a legitimate line that they said?
It's a special line. Speaking of line, Zach, what's our promo code? Flurry? I ask you this every time.
Flurry or Flurry Sports. Try them both.
Okay. If not, and then I say this every time. If not, doesn't work. Flood Zach's DMs on Twitter. He'll help you out and tell him how good it was. Tell him how good it was. Go ahead.
Or send comments, questions, and concerns to Hannah Brunner at Elkmount School District.
Yes, as always, yeah.
And tell Zach how good of a player Rice Newman is. He really likes that. So there are no Bucks players up on Underdog right now. So I guess we're running through some Cavs stuff. Darius Garland, over under 2.5 threes made.
Over.
Yeah.
Darius Garland, 30.5 points plus rebounds plus assists.
Over? Question mark?
I think I'd go under.
It's close.
I'm thinking over.
It's a good line though, either way. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Because he could play like 25 minutes and I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is a game where he scores 30 points. And then you just need 9 more from assists and rebounds.
That's true. The code is Flurry, by the way. You were right.
I knew asking you enough would help me out. Finally, we got 2 more Darius Garland ones here. We'll do them together. 24.5 points over under and 9.5 assists over under.
Under the,
go
on
over.
the assists.
Yeah, I'd go over points under assists.
I'm with you guys on that too. We got a couple of Lauri Markkanen because Lauri Markkanen is everyone's favorite player. 5.5 rebounds.
Under.
5.5?
Under everything.
Under
everything.
I'm going over. I gotta believe. Who else is gonna play for the Bucks?
You don't think Thanasis is putting his butt right into Markkanen and getting him out of the paint?
I'm going over.
Markkanen won't even approach the paint.
Then you might want to take the over on this, Zach. 15.5 points.
Under.
I'll go over.
I think I like the over on this too.
Under on everything he says.
I'm looking at Osmo's projections right now. I'll go over.
This looks like This feels like at least 6-3 game from Lauri Markkanen. And he's every time he touches the ball, I feel like he's going to shoot it, knowing that there's nobody who's tall enough to guard him. Speaking of 3-pointers, I'm going to take the over on this. 2.5 3-pointers for Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah, you got to take it.
And then finally, 21.5 points plus rebounds. If I'm taking
that's a really sad one for a center.
If I'm taking the over on 15.5 points, I'm taking the over on this.
But you took the under on rebounds of 5.5.
You're right.
So
hedging your bet. You're good.
I'm going over. Like this is a game where he goes 8 from 9 from 3, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I said under on the points, so it's just a cluster.
For what it's worth, Osmo projects 7 rebounds for him. I'm projecting like 2. I just don't think he's going to grab a single one.
I think he gets a loose ball.
That's where the line of 5 came from.
Yeah, I think he gets a loose ball if they count it as a rebound.
He'll dive for one, and it'll already be out of bounds.
We got 3 here with Evan Mobley, 15.5 points, same as Lauri Markkanen.
Over.
Yeah, over.
Over. 24.5 points plus rebounds. I'll take the over on this.
Uh-huh.
Trevor, you seem like you agree, nodding. And then 9.5 rebounds, I'm going to take the over. I think this big Evan Mobley game, this kind of cements that he's Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
And then we got 2 more players yet. We got 3 with Karis LeVert, 26.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Do you guys think Karis LeVert is a very good player?
Yes.
Do you?
I like him a lot.
Okay.
I think he's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always questioned that.
The Cavs, though.
You're right. I've questioned that since he was at Michigan. Is he a star or just a role player, a little in between that? I don't know. But 17.5 points for Karis LeVert.
Over.
I'll take the under on that, just to ride along with my take that he's not that good of a player. And then Karis LeVert, 4.5 rebounds.
He's going to get all the rebounds. Yes, over.
How many more rebounds will Karis LeVert have than Lauri Markkanen?
Probably 4 or 5.
I say they both get 3. And Evan Mobley just has like 22.
And finally, I don't know why they throw this one in here, but Isaac Okoro, 6.5 points.
Under. He never scores. Fuck that.
How come they don't have my guy Chetty Osman in there? What are we doing?
No kidding. Oh God, I love me some Chetty.
I love me some Chetty. Absolutely.
I will take the under on all Isaac Okoro things because he beat North Carolina in the tournament like 3 years ago, and I'm still.
He's Tony Snell 2.0. Yeah. He sucks, dude.
Who did he play for in college?
Auburn.
I don't even remember that, and I was like 3 years ago.
He was good in college, and he's not allowed to shoot in the NBA.
That's when Auburn they went to the Final Four. They beat like Kentucky, Kansas, and North Carolina in their run or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Virginia won the title.
The worst year.
Yeah. Other than that, I got nothing else in terms of what were we doing? Underdog picks. So
all right, how about projections on how far the Bucks go and the Timberwolves go?
I hope the T-Wolves make the playoffs, dude. That'd be awesome.
the
That's
T-Wolves
all
are
I'm hoping for.
they're in the play-in game, right?
Yeah. They play the Clippers. That's what they're gonna make it in. They're gonna punk the Clippers right away.
Well, they only have to win 1 or 2 games, right? Because then if they lose, they play New Orleans or
they're the high seed. Yeah.
I think they lose in the first round. Poor Timberwolves. They're playing either Phoenix or Memphis. That is a brutal schedule.
That's right, because they got Patrick Beverly. Imagine if that was a series and how many fights are going to break out between Patrick Beverly and Jay Crowder.
Or Patrick Beverly and Chris Paul. Didn't they play on the same team? Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. I'm kind of rooting for that now. I think Bucks win the championship and the Timberwolves lose first round.
I'll go Timberwolves lose second round. I think they're going to play the Grizzlies and knock the Grizzlies out because I don't know what the Grizzlies are. And then Bucks will go Eastern Conference Finals.
You don't think the Timberwolves would beat Memphis and then beat either Golden State, Dallas, Utah, or Denver?
No, they'll lose to like Dallas or something. They'll beat a team that's good, lose to a team that's bad, as is the Timberwolf way.
That actually makes a lot of sense, unfortunately. As a Bucks fan, who that used to be who we were, probably still is, but I'm going Timberwolves losing the first round in like 7 or 6. They make it interesting. And I think the Bucks lose in the probably finals or Eastern Conference Finals. I can't make up my mind. Depends. A lot of depends on where Brooklyn goes.
Fair. And I just had one last question for you guys. How much would it suck to be a Clippers fan?
It'd be terrible.
Like, imagine
I've never met one. I don't believe they exist.
Imagine living in LA and not rooting for the Lakers.
It was like 2 years ago. They were supposed to be the next big thing, and then within like a span of 30 days after the Bucks beat them by like 40, they just disappeared.
I will say one other thing that the Timberwolves have going for them is, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but in like the last couple of years in the Western Conference and playoffs, kind of a surprise team makes a run to the Western Conference Finals. I know that the Trailblazers did it recently. The Nuggets did it. Maybe here's one of Trevor's deep dives. Maybe that fits the Timberwolves bill here.
Maybe. I also like the Nuggets. I wouldn't mind seeing the Nuggets make a run.
I did read that they're out Jamal Murray and Michael Porter for the playoffs.
That's
Michael
tough.
Porter being
Murray
out's good. Murray has, I was hoping Murray would be back. Michael Porter Jr. should retire.
He got a bag for doing literally 10 points a game. That is insane.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got. Anything else you guys want to talk about Bucks NBA before we get out of here? I'll plug it. Go ahead.
Once the Bucks lose, if they lose, let's start the fire Coach Bud thing again. That was fun. That was my favorite thing.
Yes. People forget he was one lot. Like he blew. I think it was Game 5. He blew the shit out of Game 5, and Giannis pulled some magic out of his ass. And then people forget they needed 6 to beat the Hawks. They lost at home Game 1, and then I think they blew another game on the road by like 20, and they went down 2-0 to the Phoenix Suns. I still do not think Bud is that good of a coach.
No, no one's talking about it. Except
he has a ring.
He should.
Okay,
he pawned it off in a blackjack game. You know he did. He does not have that ring anymore.
That's why he's avoiding Steve Nash. Steve Nash won it from him.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, no, Steve Nash may be a worse coach than Mike Budenholzer.
I don't think he does anything. I don't know.
I brought this up to Trevor when the Bucks and Nets were playing. There was one series, it was fourth quarter, like 1 minute left, where only Seth Curry and Bruce Brown touched the ball, and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving were on the floor.
Good. Decoys. Yeah.
Right.
And stay tuned to one of our podcasts. We'll probably have a NBA coach fight playoff again, because that worked actually extremely well last year, ironically.
It was so accurate. Yeah.
And on that note, we're out of here. That's Buckshots' last regular season show. Maybe Zach comes on for playoffs, maybe not. We'll see what happens. But I'll check us out. Lombardi Sweep will be their Wednesday night with hopefully Janet this week. That'll come out Thursday podcast. Zach, you and Jake got Flurry Sports Pod going on. Jake and Henry have Burnt Rubber Racing going on, and we got a lot of
Baseball.
baseball.
Playing catch up pod. When is that out, Zach?
Playing catch up pod is every Tuesday and Thursday. That's Jake and his dad talking baseball. His dad just roasting him, which is a good time. We'll also have a Packers mock draft on YouTube tomorrow that we're about to record. And these two are on the Flurry Sports Podcast Monday instead of Jake. Jake is no longer with us. So if these two will be on, Jake will be back next week, though. But yeah, right now, no longer with us.
And on that note, follow all of us on Twitter. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow Flurry Sports. Do as much as you can to read Flurry Sports views, articles and stuff. We put out a lot of good stuff, a lot of factual and right stuff. On that note, I guess we're out of here, guys. Have a good one.
Shout out.